يعني توبلي تقريبا جرينجا حاجة جرينجا حتى لو زاري شاها توتو توز الشوازي حكرني جوازة لقى بسيارة كان ترى هردو أو رولي دلتاتي اف بكاره هنين بلام وكو أولني كا قبل بأساني اشتكان ببخياطة توز الرنجل تيجي بسيارة كإزعاجي البيجنا أسانا بلام با سيري شي جام سي بسيارة كبكين يا كم شيء your benzene freezes at 5.45 Celsius. قلنا كواتا من الإيديا صوتي pure benzene يعني كواتا هيش تيجي ثانية كواتا freezing point solvent تاكا initial solvent تاكا يكسانا با bench point شلو bench 12 a solution containing 7.24 grams of C2Cl4H2 in 115 grams of benzene freezes at 3.55 يعني solution دوز بابلين لك كاتب سيارة أقل لو بيبزاني مثلا لكول بس كردو ما تشتيك بوتشي قرر على دي أمس 3.55 ما بس لا فريزن بوينتي كوديتي لو أنا بسيه ما بس شيء ما بس لا solution كيا فهذا freezing pointy solution ده solution ما بس لا شيء final solvent ما بس لا شيء initial يكسانا بس 0.50 Celsius. شيتري يابو لو بينيا ماسي سوليوت يابو على أونيتيا ماسي سوليوت على حوت بوينت بستشوار جراميتيا ماسي solvent وتتي لنا وشيء لنا أعمى ماسي solvent this side mass of solvent is equal to 0.1 kilogram. Alright. What else do we have? Now, based on this data, what is the molar freezing point constant? What is molar freezing point constant? Asking for Kf. It's asking for Kf. So it says find Kf. Now, pay attention. Look at the question very carefully. So the only equation that contains Kf is this equation. Delta Tf is equal to Kf times molality. So Kf is equal to delta Tf over molality. So delta Tf missing. Molality is also missing. We need to find both of them. And we go after them. What can we do? What numbers we are going to use? What are the given parts that we are going to use in order to find delta Tf and K? So we know we cannot find delta Tf from this rule because Kf is unknown, molality is also unknown. Nothing is known here. But there is another rule for delta Tf. All right, there's another rule. So first, let's look at this one. Delta Tf is equal to, I did in black, different colors. So delta Tf, we can say is equal to freezing point of solution, which is the final, minus freezing point of solvent. Then, what is the freezing point of solution? It is 3.55. Why are we finding Kf? Because it's not water. It's for benzene. We don't know what is Kf for benzene. So 3.55 Celsius minus 5.45 Celsius. The result is minus 1.9 Celsius. What did we find? What did you get?
For Jackie to come back in the video, but she wanted to spend some time with her family, and I hope her time.
Now, we found delta TF. That's it. We found delta TF. Now let's find molality. Well, just like with the one in chapter 1, molality is equal to mole of solute divided by mass of solvent. We have mass of solvent. I have directly converted the mass of solvent from gram to kilogram. This one is kilogram. It's 115 grams. I have directly converted it to kilograms. All right. But in order to find mole of solute, as all of you know from chapter 1, we need mass over molar mass. Mole of solute equals to mass of solute over molar mass. What is mass of solute? Mass of solute is 7.24 grams divided by what is the molar mass? 168 grams. 168 grams. And what do we get? 7.24 divided by 168. It's 0.043 watt mole. Now 0.043 mole divided by mass of solvent, which is 0.15 kilograms. It is 0.37 molar. Now we have both molar and delta TF. So this part is equal to, what is the delta TF? Minus 1.9 Celsius divided by 0.37. It's like 37.5, I think. Let me just check it again. Yes, as it said, right? 34. Okay, 34 molar. So the Kf is equal to 5.08 Celsius per molar. That's the result. Okay. Who has any questions? Who do you? If you have any questions, please ask right now. Yeah.
Do they give like near answers in the ministry exam, or like 5.08 in one choice and 6.10 in one choice?
Actually, this is what. Don't worry about it. The كورني كتاب مايكل كتان كراوتو دنجي زو برزت شروع كاك أحمد زرين
عفوا قبل أنا
حتى هذا بقولن ده خوش. So these are normally the results or the choices that will be given, they will be so different from each other. They are not going to be very close. For example, they will not give 5.08 or 5.1 or 5.13. All right. So those close results are not going to be given, all right?
Okay.
Don't worry about them. Any more questions?
ما وصلنا برسيار چون solvent to solid من ليه كده
سيري ككرمالة she a solution containing 7.24 grams in 115 كواتا حوبون بسوشواركا تشيا لناو بنزينكا تواتو أو بابلم ماديتريان لناو بنزينكا تواتو كواتا أو حوبون بسوارا مادام لناو 115 جرامكا تواتو أبي solute ب 115 جرامكا أبي بسولفن يعني بو إنا تو إكسر بابي هيش قيدو شرط إكسر تو إنجاب بيدوزيتا
داش
ورنا
en sorutu كمان نشوينا 0.0 يعني والله
كاما مولا
هذا ام اكسانا بان سوليد تصير ام سولفنت ان سوليد
آه.
كمان نشوي هنا
أوي بابلين كابا موراكا نوسيما
بلا من لوتين
هلا خوارو هنا ما دوزيمتو في كم جابه مولالتي دوزيتو مولالتي كسانا باني سوليد لسر اني سولفنت وانيا اني سوليد جاري بشين بيدوزينو هلا شابتر يكيشا اني سوليد معناها بو يكسانا بماسي سوليد ماس لسر مولار ماس او بو دوزي معناتو اوي خوات كورنا اجلسا دوباره كمو سيركن اما داوي كي اف فيكردا كي اف ليغر الله هيا امي كلا لا تشبش المسيما كي اف لم الله اكات الدلتا تي اف لسر مولالتي بلان كون الدلتا تي اف هي نمولالتي هي اجار اتشين دلتا تي اف دوزينو باتشي سيرك ان لو لاوا فريزين بوينت انيشال فاينل ياو يعني سولفنت تو سولوشن ياو تواتي مالي سولوشن ماينس سولفنت يعني فاينل ماينس انيشال اي دوزينو سيك ماينس يك بوينت نوكات او نجات جو اوين شي معنى مولالتي معنى اما مولالتي اگر لا نو رولش اواني دوزينو يعني غير رولك خوينا بتشين رولك اصلك خويا بيدوزينو يعني رولي دلتا تي اف كان دوزينو بتشين رول اصلك خويا بيدوزينو كاتشي كات مولي سوليوت لسر ماسي سولفنت كات مولي سوليد لسر ماسي سولفنت كات ليه 0.0 بابلين او مولي سوليد مان ينجح يعني كشكا لوايا ساجر ما بس نبيتين مولي سوليد مان دوزيوتوا انجا مولي سوليد كمان خصوصا ناو ايروا بو اوي برسيارك في حالتين اينا بابلين خوي مولي سوليد مان نيا بماس لسر مولار ماس دوزي مانتوا انجا بابلين كلمة تنور لكم ولا تكشمن لنور لك بكاري نو كي اف كمان دوزيتو كاتب كي اف بنزين 5.0 حشت Now the third property of colligative properties is boiling point elevation. Boiling point elevation. This time we will talk about how boiling point will increase. The elevation here is also the change. Elevation is also the change. A solution with non-electrolyte solid will have a higher boiling point than it. So for everything that we have studied, we talked about the change. Freezing point will be lower than the solvent. Now, for boiling point, it will be higher than the solvent if we put some solute in it. So هتقام جاريا بعكسه boiling point برزبت سدوا أنا كتير ده عبازين بس ليه boiling point برزبته يعني بتشينج كشو boiling point ده كخوشيو. So both of them, both the change and boiling point will increase. All right. Vapor pressure and boiling point are inversely proportional. You know, vapor pressure will decrease, was lowered, boiling point is elevating, it's increasing. If the vapor pressure is lowered, boiling point is increased. They are inversely proportional. If vapor pressure is increased, boiling point increases. So they are directly opposite of each other. The boiling point and vapor pressure are inversely proportional. أو دعنا دائما عكسية كده. So we know boiling point of a solution is higher than boiling point of the pure solvent. أو ما بس أعوى. أو these two things are the same thing. It means that if you put a solute, it's harder to boil the water or the liquid. Because if we have some solid into a solution, we know, let's say water boils at 100 Celsius. Boils at 100 Celsius. After we put some solute in it, or we increase the concentration of the solution, it will not boil at 100 Celsius. It will boil above 100 Celsius, like 101, 102, depending on the concentration. What is the boiling point of a liquid? What is boiling point? This is the definition. Definition is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to prevailing atmospheric pressure. What does this mean? It means that at what point, when we call a boiling point, what is boiling point? It's the point where liquid turns to gas. It's the point, is the temperature where liquid turns to gas. But how? Why at that point it will turn to gas? Because at that point it will be equal to pressure. Because atmospheric pressure keeps liquid as liquid. It doesn't let the liquid to become gas easily. Atmospheric pressure is applying a pressure. When we are increasing temperature, we are raising the temperature, we are raising the energy of the liquid until a point it is equal to the atmospheric pressure, and then it becomes the gas. So it can, predominate the, dominates the atmospheric pressure. It applies enough energy on the atmospheric pressure until it becomes gas. فهاتلي راه فكرة كتشيا. كون liquid بو بالliquid أمانته لبروي atmospheric pressure. بابلين زغتي ليكات pressure apply كات أثر liquid. For example, if this is the liquid, if you have some liquid here, atmospheric pressure, ATM, is applying some pressure on this surface of the liquid, and it doesn't let the liquid escape easily. It doesn't let the liquid to boil easily. Then what will happen if we increase temperature? We are increasing energy so much that is equal to this atmospheric pressure, and it becomes gas. فهتشي روايات بوشي كأيضاً إنجاء ببجاس لبروي أولاً temperature برزة كينوا energy شي باشين با particle كاني liquid يتر أو atmosphere ناتوانا الزالبة بالسريانة يكسانا بنقوة كاني يكسانا ببكتيريا atmosphere كان ناتوانا الزالبة بالسريانة بلا يتر تونا ببجاس ناتوانا بليكويد بيالتو لو كاتيا هنا بيت لو كاتيا liquid كشبابة gas زالبة بالسريانة كاتو قصيت شيء قلتوا. What does this mean? This means that more energy as heat will be required to raise the vapor pressure of the solution to equal the atmospheric pressure. كاتو شيء معنويت energy معنويت هتاكو بجانين با atmospheric pressure. ايه solution بو energy زواتر معنوية كم تر معنوية energy زياتر معنوية. أما بيناسي بولن بوينتا أم سيا ما بس يلم دوانه. كاتا كورنا قرد أو خوي لسا بكله. يعني لسا برامبر atmosphere زالبه. أجاتو بأتموسفير ببريشر atmosphere بود بجاس. باشا. فلما قلت solution تيجي إيشكي قرصتركي. أجابي كم بس solute تيجي. Bo, so if you put some solute into the solvent, the solvent will become gas more difficult. Why? Because if you remember from the previous lessons, when you put some solute into the solvent will surround the solute, and the solute is non-volatile. Don't forget that. The solute is non-volatile. It cannot easily become gas. So we need more energy. We need more energy to free the solvent from the solute. كواتا بوشي اگر solute تيابي درنك تراكولا بوشي اگر solute تيابي ابي energy زيادة بينه شكا بينخت energy تري بينه solvent تاكا لا solute تاكا رزقارك شكا solvent تاكا دوري solvent تاكا يابا solvent تاكا نساو solvent تاكا رجلي كان لو ام solvent تاكا اساني نبي بقاس هاي لبي pressure شابو أنا حنا على evaporate كا pressure كم تدرسها كا غازي كم تدرسها كا ليش كتب معنا فكرة بس لێرە بۆلم پۆینتەکە باسی تمپریچەرەکەن کەواتە تۆ چیت زیاترە بێت ئەبێ گەرمێکی زیاتری بێتە لێ ڕزگار بۆی لەو تمپریچەر بۆی لەو ئەتراکشنە ڕزگاریکی بۆی لەو سۆلیتە ڕزگاریکی کەواتە کە ئەنەرژیکی زیاتری بێت کەواتە لە تمپریچەرێکی بەرزتر ئاکوڵە ئەوە پێوترە چی بۆیلەر پۆینت کەواتە ئەو پۆینتی ئەو تمپریچەرەی کە کاتێک لیکویدەکەی ترە بە بە گاز ئەکوڵەتیایە بۆ بۆیلەر پۆینت باشە. So the boiling point elevation, delta TB. We know delta TB is the difference between final and initial. And just like TF, so instead of delta TF, we just change it to delta TB. All right. And molar boiling point constant, instead of molar freezing point constant, we'll say molar boiling point constant is KB instead of KF. What was KF? 1 molar for freezing point. How much would freeze? KB is how much boiling point will elevate for 1 molar of solution. For example, for water, it's 0.51 Celsius. So water, if water boils at 100 Celsius, after increasing 1 molar concentration, it will boil at 100.51 Celsius. Why? Because it has been increased by 0.51 Celsius. Kawata, our garlasa bukule, la doa concentration again, boyeg molalzia pkin, but chenek ziyatra kule, ba 0.5 Celsius ziyatra kule. Kawata chekat, in here it's positive. Why? Because it's elevation, it's increasing. So if for 1 molar it's 0.51, what about for another molar? We multiply it by that molar. And it's equal to delta TB is equal to KV times molality. Same thing, delta TB is equal to, just like delta TF. So that's just like delta TF. Instead of KF, KB times molality, just like delta TF, delta TB equals to boiling point of final minus initial. What was the final? The final is the solution. Final is solution. Initial is solvent. And again, the change is directly proportional, but this time, boiling point, since it's increasing, not decreasing, it's not depression, it's not lowering, that's why both of them, for boiling point, both of them are directly proportional. Kawata, madam lera kam kirnawa maniya, her boiling point is ziyabet, kawata, directly proportional. Rasha directly proportional. La boiling point ki gerimtir akulat. Boiling aw la sa akul la doika solution ki ki la sawiya ka ranga akula. La sawni wa ranga akula. Abeb gerimtir bki. Abe enerji ziyatri bene. Hataku bakula. All right. Do you have any questions, everyone? It's just like delta TF, but instead of decreasing, it's increasing.
ماوەسا تاکو ئەلڤیشن بەرزتر بێ ئەو کاتە ڤیپەر زیاترێ بێ یا کەمترێ بێ هەرەوەنا بە کورتی
بەڵێ هەتاکو بۆیلینگ پۆینت زیاتر بێت بە پرێشەر کەمتر بێت مەبەستە لەوەیە
دەست خۆش
بەڵێ ینی عەکسی یەکە. باشە. Now let's solve questions. Solving questions is just like freezing point. So again, please be careful. If it says find boiling point of solution, it means that find final boiling point. If it says find boiling point elevation, it means that just find this final, just find delta TB, okay? So for this question, it says, what is boiling point elevation? Boiling point elevation. So it means find delta TB only. Let's see what are the givens and the required. A solution contains 50 grams of sucrose and electrolyte dissolved in water. So this 50 gram must be mass of solute. So it's 50 grams of solute. Then mass of solvent, which is the water, is 500 grams H2O. And everyone, please memorize this one. Just like the minus 1.86, memorize this part also. For Kb is 0.51. For other substances, you can take it from the table. You don't have to memorize it. You can take it from this table. This is for boiling point. Okay. Now, what else is given? It says find delta Tb. And we have molar mass. Okay. Well, just like the previous questions, how do we solve it? It's asking for delta Tb. What is delta Tb? And we know Kb is 0.21 Celsius per molar. Why? Because it's water. Kb of H2O. So delta Tb is equal to Kb times molar. Kb times molar. We have Kb, but we don't have molar. Just like the previous questions. Go find molality. Molality is equal to, pay attention very carefully, N of solute over mass of solvent. See, again and again. That's it, like we have to think about it like this. We are solving chapter 1, section 3 questions all over again and again. We don't have mole of solute. So mole of solute, see, I am solving mole of solute first, mass of solute over molar mass. What is mass of solute? 50 grams. 50 grams over, what was the molar mass? 342 grams per mole. So 50 divided by 342, it's 0.146 mole. Let's put the mole in here. Is equal to 0.146 mole divided by 0.146 divided by, what is this? 0.5 kilograms. 0.5 kilograms. Don't forget to convert the solvent to kilogram always. So 0.5, it's 0.292 molar. Now we have Kb. We found molar also. Then 0.51 Celsius per molar times 0.292 molar, 0.51. The result is 0.14. Oh, I think we can round it to 1.5. 1.5, yes. 1.5 watt Celsius. باشا بگم. اتوانین ئاواهی دابەشی بکەین. یەکەم جار مۆڵی سۆلیدمان دۆزیەوە، دابەشی 342 مان کرد کە مۆلار ماسە. دوای ئەوە با بڵێن ئەوەمان دابەشی ماسی سۆڵڤنتەکە کرد. ئەنجا کەڕەتی کێبیەکەمان کرد، تقریبان کردیە 0.15 سێلسیس. کەواتە ئێستا لێرەیە elevation چەندێک بەرز بۆتەوە. لێرەیە پێویست ناکە final بدۆزینەوە. We don't need to find the final. We only need to find delta Tb it means that 0.15 Celsius of the boiling point has increased. So this is the change. All right, everyone. For the next question, test out the next question. This time, instead of saying to find delta TF, it says find boiling point of the solution. The boiling point of the solution, which means the final. But even doing so, by doing so, you have to find delta TB again. So you are actually, you have to solve this question one step more. Like I have to add one step more in order to solve this question. Let's again write the givens. What are the given parts? Mass of solute is given when it says a solution contains 450 grams of sucrose in 250 grams of water. The mass of solute is 450 grams. Mass of solvent is 250 grams. And we have molar mass. It says find, and we have Kb, of course, because it's water. We know Kb is 0.51 Celsius per molar. 51. Okay. What else? It says find boiling point of solution. But in order to find boiling point of solution, we have to find delta TB always. Okay. This question is like standard. Whenever it says find boiling point of a solution, you need delta TB. Or for example, if it says find freezing point of solution, it means delta TF. Now, let's start with this rule. This rule is in which one of the rules delta TB is equal to boiling point of solution minus boiling point of solvent. Do we have boiling point of solvent? Yes. Why? Because you have to know. It's up to you. Boiling point of solvent, which is H2O, it's 100 Celsius. It will be بزاني أو للصياقلة. أم باش عادي تويا. باش. كواتا أمن شك أمن هي. بلان إحساس شي مانية. كشكوى دلتا تي بي مانية. كواتا بيجوي أما حلكين بابين دلتا تي بي حلكين. مزيان هنا. أحسن. سوت مان بعد دلتا تي بي بزاني شيء. اللي هو كوبسال في شو الليتو. Now from this part, it will be exactly like the previous question. Nothing's changed except for this, the previous rule, which we have added now. Delta TB is equal to Kb times molality. We have Kb. All we need to find is molality. Again, let's find molality. Molality is equal to mole of solute again and again. We are solving this again and again over mass of solvent. We don't have mole of solute. Why? Because mass of solute is given. So mole of solute. Sometimes the mole of solute can be given directly. It will be easier. Mole of solute is equal to mass over molar mass. Mass of solid, of course. What is the mass? 450 grams divided by 344. 342 grams per mole. And the result is 450 divided by 342. It's 1.3 315 mole. Now we put this one here. We put it there, and we get equals to 1.315 mole divided by mass of solvent. Again, don't forget to convert the mass of solvent to kilograms. So it's 0.250 kilograms or 0.25 kilograms. So divided by 0.25, we get 5.26 molars. 5.26 molars, and we put the molar here as well. In there. Now, this is equal to 5.26, so 0.51 times 5.26. It's equal to 2.68 Celsius. But what is this? Only delta TB. It is only the change. It's only the change. Now we have delta TB. We want to find boiling point of solution. So boiling point of solution is equal to delta TB plus boiling point of solvent. We have to add the other two. So delta TB is 2.68 plus 100. So it will boil at 102.68 Celsius. This is the final. فهذا كورنا ليريا اگر وتي boiling point solution يعني final بزيرو اسبون منا كاوزور جا طلبه لبسياره بي يچتو دلتا تي بي جو ادوزيتو بجي هلا باشا تو به چی بدوزی تو به boiling point solution کا بدوزی تو اگر شتي واو چی ترمان هي ليريا ما بس لچي لم اشتيا بون او خويل الساقله اگر بيت او اوا 450 جرام شكريتي بكين لصود بون شص واش تاقله اگر اون الرجي شكريتي بكين ها boiling point کا برز بطو
مامس عفوا
طلع
يا سيد الطا تي بي اكسان بي بي سولوشن كمي بي بي سولفنت بلا مما لويا دلتا تي بي بلس او بي بي سولفنت ما كردوا او كاتا غلطه مامس ابي كميكي
ناكرم نابت سيريكا
مامس بي بي سولفنت خوي نيجاتيف
اخم كرم اخم زي شمشي كردوا انا همي بدوت اوديو اكبر بتشي
مامس ما ام سولوشن كما بردم ديو
اخم من سيريكا هر ديكم اوديو كردوا باشا هر ديكم عكس يدوا حزكي سا بوتشاكم وكا سيريكا اما هر دي جاري هر ديكم عكس يدوا سيريكا بي بي سولفن دكا بر اوديو بتشي بلس دلتا تي بي 1
واه
دلتا تي بي بلس بي بي سولفن دكا بي بي سولوشن اخي شيء بام بلسم بي بي سولوشن يكسانا دلتا تي بي بلس بي بي سولفن 1
مشكلة
يعني ما بس كم اوه بس بوي بجوانين وسين وام ذكرتها جناعتي هذه تو اوبر اوديو هر عين اشتكت
اشكوت ما قلبي نيجاتيف بس ما دام او هي كاتا بوزيتيف
ابي وايلك اي تو هو من ماثماتيكلي هرشيك او كتولي بهرشي هيشي قوانابه يعني بهرشي قال لك هو غلطه باشا اقل لو امجي كرنا نبه نجوبه جا طلب لو غلطي كردوا any more questions كرنا برسياري سيم زور اسانا هروك اواني كت دلتا تي اف is the same like the one is delta t f so delta tb is given this is delta tb why because it says the boiling point elevation of an aqueous solution is 1.02 so delta tb is 1.02 Celsius. What is the molality of the solution? It says find molality, and we know Kb it's water, it's aqueous. So it's water, it's 0.51 Celsius per molar. It's just like that. So delta T is equal to Kb times molality. Molality is equal to delta Tb over, delta Tb over Kb. Delta Tb is 1.02 Celsius over Kb 0.51 Celsius per molar, and the result is only 2 molar. Okay. طيب بالفعل يعني توصل دوزينوي زورا كات evet.
Evet.
For question 4, I will just give you the answers. This is 0.75. This one is 1.47. Let me just check again. Yes. Okay. Question 4 is kind of like question 3.
مثلا چون زنی مسبوق من حفظ بنجامین
شلون؟
وانتي إيفا
بدك تطلب لبر به هي او بدك هي او لبر به يا 0.5
ما مساوينا سعر شوارع مالا ما هلا what's the boiling point elevation
كرم سيري كان انا بقول بوينتي سولوشن غنيا
صح
دلتا تي بي زايد كان كراو بو او شنك او خويل شنك اقله لصانا اقله
لسه عقله
شنو زي كردوا
0.5 بنش
شويتي elevation اتاني برو لكش حلكي دلتا تي بي يكسانا بويلين بوينتي سولوشن ماينس بويلين بوينتي سولفنت تكا حركات صفر توصل الصقيل الى ماشي
إمام صاحب كوينش لو حودك
يكون شنو حتاكو كو بسعر سروي تو غير دلتا تي بي كمان دوزيو تو 0.5 كي بي شي لبره باشا مولاتي يكسانا بالدلتا تي بي كرف دابش كي بي
بس
Now, the last property from the colligatives is osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure. What is osmotic pressure? So, before we talk about the notes here, let's look at this figure. Look at the left figure. Look at the left figure. When we have two solutions or two things, one of them is solution, one of them is solvent, or two solutions, one of them has high temperature, high concentration, one of them has low concentration. So pure water, we assume it's low concentration, or we can call it also low concentration. This solution here is the high concentration side. All right? A process will occur if there is a semi-permeable membrane between them. If there is a semi-permeable membrane between them, there is a process that occurs at that membrane, and that process is called osmosis. What is osmosis? It's the transferring of particle from the lower concentration, from lower concentration towards the higher concentration. All right? That is called osmosis. كواتا osmosis شيء osmosis أويا هتاكو اگر لبینی دو باشه یکی کن solution به یکی کن solvent به یا خود یکی کن concentration که برز به یکی کن concentration که نزبه سا pure solvent pure water concentration نیه کما لو کاته چی رویت particle لا solvent كوا لا low concentration كوا قرب برو towards the high concentration. للو بهايرة. Why? Because semi-permeable membrane will allow some particles to pass and block some others. فهذا semi-permeable شيء رجلي لا رجاء بهاني يكون رجلي لهاني كتير أكا. At this point, where the solution, again, just like the previous properties, the water particles cannot, because they are attached to the solute, the water particles are attached to the solute, they cannot be transferred. They cannot go to the other side because they are attached to the solute. And the semi-permeable membrane doesn't let the solute particles to pass through, only solvent particles. That's why solvent particles can only pass through from the low concentration to high concentration. فهتسي كان ليرا شيء يقرنا لبن أوي membrane كر رجعنا يا solid برواتا بناويا بروا لا يتشبش كsolution particle كاني أو همي بالsolito يعني زوربي بالsolito بس راو زوربي بالsolito بس راو كبهم membrane كج رجعنا solid كبروا أو كج ناتوانا بروا باشا بويا فلوي كي دروس بيت لكوا وكوا لا low concentration كول لا أو كوا برو solution. So there will be a flow from the water towards the solution. Why? Because particles from the solution cannot pass through the membrane. Only a small amount. Look at it. 3 particles are going to the left side. Only 1 particle can come to the right side. That's why we call that process as osmosis. كواتا أو جولة كلا الراستو كلا low concentration. So the movement from the low concentration towards high concentration, we call it osmosis. All right. So this osmosis, this flow will continue until when? هاي سببين السر نقطة كمان. So between water and separate solution, the rate at which water molecules leave pure water site is greater than the rate at which they leave the solution. So from the water, the flow is more from the water towards the solution than from the solution to the water. So that's what it means. Point 2. This causes the level of the solution to rise. أما شيء بيوتري أما شيء ليت وايليت أها solutionك أو برزبته. solutionك برزبته. What do we call this process? Osmosis. We call it osmosis. What is osmosis? The movement of solvent through a semi-permeable membrane. Only solvent is moving, not the solid particles, because the solid particles are big. From where? From the side of lower concentration to the side of higher concentration. Don't forget that. That's a very important point. So osmosis is always from low concentration towards higher concentration, or from solvent to solution. All right, from solvent to solution, or from lower concentration towards higher concentration. All right, now we said this will keep going. It will continue the flow. Until when? Will it continue the flow until everything is spilled or until nothing is left? No. It will continue the flow until a certain height is reached. Until a certain height is reached. This height. All right, a certain height is reached. So can you see? All right. After that, what will happen? The level rises, see, until the pressure exerted by the height of the solution is large enough to force the water molecules back to the rate equal to that which they enter from the pure water side. It will apply a force on what? On this membrane. It will apply force. Why? Because the height is so, like it has so much that it will apply a pressure on this membrane, and it makes the transfer of water molecules to the solvent molecules to be equal. If one molecule enters the left side, one molecule enters the right side. Why? Right now, we have pressure and we have more free water particles, solvent particles. شيرو يا كورنا لبروي لدواي أوي كا برزبوا أو برزي pressure reduce سكات زائدا شيء زور بولا now فايدة. Now it is concentration has decreased. أي concentration نابز يعني شيء زيادة تياه أوي زيادة تياه استا أميش بشي أو أنا أوي هي خليات أوديو pressure شيء هي بويا لح كجيش أم حدا أما أوسته stops at this rate. لم حدا يتو osmosis نامنه. Osmosis شيبو. Osmosis أو بو at this point osmosis will stop. Why? Because at first we had what was osmosis? Particles going through from low concentration to high concentration at a higher rate than it's coming back. See, in here, there's 3 particles are going to that side, only 1 particle is coming back. But in here, 2 particles are going to the left, 2 particles are again going to the right. So what has reached equilibrium. Equilibrium. When will it reach equilibrium? When osmosis has stopped. Osmosis stops at this rate. There will not be any osmosis. Again, the level rises until the pressure exerted by the height, this is the height of the solution. That pressure is large enough to force water molecules, these molecules, see, is forcing the molecules back to the solvent again, but at an equal rate. If one particle goes to the left side, one particle will go to the right side. Until to the pure side. At this point, what do we call that pressure? The pressure is osmotic pressure. So the pressure applied by the height, of this solution to stop the osmosis, there will not be any more osmosis. We call it osmotic pressure. So it's the external pressure that must be applied to stop osmosis. What is that pressure? That pressure comes from, what is that external pressure? The pressure that comes from the height. External pressure here, that comes from the height of the solution. External pressure. What was the external pressure? The height that comes from the height of the solution. The pressure, sorry, that comes from the height of the solution. أو pressure اللي برزيكي أما ودسمان كوتوا في أو 3 osmotic pressure. كاسة كيف السياري هي؟ كواتا كورنا بكردية جاري كتشرح لك موبتا. بس هرجع. تلك. لريا أم تيوبي لا تشبمان هي. لبيني solution و solvent هيك membrane من دانا بيم بترسم semi permeable membrane. membrane الرجع بهنا particle آيات والرجريج لهنا كتيركات. كورت متصل رجري لا solute كات الرجع آيات solvent كبروح. يعني أوكا بروح. بس رجري لا شكركا كات بروح. لم حالتها لبروي أو إلى solution أو إلى شاب لبروي أوكي بشكركون سوا. ناتواني بأساني بروات أوديو الرجع أيش ما كما بوي الرجيك زياتر لا راستور لا أورونكو أشتوا لا كتر باشا
لا
بالك لا solvent تكون ربع solution يعني لو concentration تبغى high concentration يا باشا أما تاكي بردوام بحرب الرابع سبب اللي دي ورجع لا أما بردوام به حدك جاي كده تاكو برزيكيوا أجات برزيكيوا أو برزيا بريشر بدون زكاة أبى بقى بريشر بي ألين شيء بريشر بيوتري أوزموتيك بريشر وعطاه حالتك بريشر الريابو طبعا أوزموزيس بلين شيء حاجة كروي أو بيوتري أوزموزيس طبعا برز بيتو أوزموزيس بردام بتاع برز بيتو تا برزيك دياركا أو برزيا بريشر كوا أخذت صار ممبرينك كنا يلا تشيتر أبي زيايا بيت أمديو هرچنك بيت أمديو بهمر رجع نرتو أوديو استبوه دبي هم بريشري هي هم أبي زيادة رجعت واسا أو من هي كاتواني بالراتو أوديو أبي فري ما هي كوات اللو حدك وستا نأمن تواني زالب بسر أو نأيش تواني زالب بسر لم حدها لينس أوزموزيس وستاوا بچه بريشري بچي وستاوا ببريشرك بريشرك چي بيوتري بريشرك بيوتري أوزموتيك بريشر بريشرك بيوتري أوزموتيك بريشر انجا أما أوزموتيك بريشر كوستا يعني جمالي بارتيكلا كان كأراد بارولاي تشب ياخد كيه بلاي الراستاوا يكسانم بيكسي كواتا سيستمك جيشتو بشي سيستمك جيشتو با equilibrium فواتا أجر when the osmosis stops the system is at equilibrium فواتا بو با equilibrium يتبو شوازة منتو so here's the question you can write the question down here if in osmosis the solution concentration is increased, then what will happen to the height of the solution site? Here's your job, before we answer that question, let's go up to these two rules. The greater the concentration of the solution, so the greater the concentration, so the higher the concentration, the greater of osmotic pressure of the solution. What does that mean? It means if, now this is the relation, they are directly. They are directly. It means that the higher the concentration, if this concentration is more, the higher osmotic pressure. What does mean the higher the osmotic pressure? It means we need more pressure to stop osmosis. So if it's more concentrated, we need more water. It needs more water to absorb more water. That's why it needs more pressure to stop the osmosis. Kawata pressure شيء زياتري وبوي osmosis بوستنا. إنجا كورنا ورا نسأل أو جوابي أم بسيارم بنو بس أو نقطة. If in osmosis the solution concentration is increased, then what will happen to the height of the solution? Will the height increase or decrease in order to stop the osmosis?
Increase.
Exactly. It will increase. That's why. Now, it will also
مامۆستا ئینکریز دەکاتە وەکو کاتێک کە ئۆزمۆتیک پرێژەر
ئافرین هەتا ئۆزمۆتیک پرێشەری کە دەستێکێ زۆر تەواوە
هەتا وەکو کاتە ئیکۆبلیرم دوایە کە گەیشتاوێتتر واز
because it will increase, it will also increase. Why? Because the higher concentration, the more osmotic pressure is required to stop the osmosis. Okay. أو بنسمع أو نطق. Let me ask you another question, and you'll write that down. You know, if you look at the figure, you know, but this question might be asked during exam or during ministry exam questions. It says during osmosis, which side, during osmosis, which side will increase its height? The
Decrease.
high concentration or the low concentration side?
Also decrease and increase.
علم increase. During osmosis, which side the higher concentration?
concentration زیاتر یکات
زۆر تەواوە. کەواتە گەسی ڕسمەکە بکەن ئەو لای کە کۆنسنتریشنەکەی زۆرترە ئەو بەرزە بێتەوە. ئەوە مەسەلەن ئەوە پرسیارەکە لە کەرەوەزاری ئەگەری هەبێتەوە بڵێ چی لێت یامەڵێ during osmosis چی ڕاستە لەمانی خوارەوە یەکی لە پۆینتەکانەوە بێ ئەڵێ کە لای سۆلوشنەکە شایەتەکەی بەرزە بێتەوە لە کاتی ئۆسمۆزیسە.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, sure. Please.
Do they use the terms hypotonic, hypertonic, isotonic? Do they use them?
No, we don't use hypertonic or hypotonic. It's just I have used this just to clarify that osmosis is also a part of cells, a part of a process in the cells also. For example, in the cell, if you look at the figure, if a cell undergoes a lot of osmosis, like to come into a lot of water goes to inside the cell, the cell will burst, the cell will explode. But if it is at equilibrium, a certain amount of water is going outside or inside. But if it's dehydrated, like hypotonic, it will dehydrate and it will shrink to death. That's why if we put a lot of water into a living thing, the cells will swell. The cells will swell. If it's moderate amount, the cells will be at equilibrium. And if dehydrated, if you look at plants, pay attention to plants. When plants don't have a lot of water, when they need water, the plants are like shrinking and the plants are becoming very, what do you call it? C7. They are losing water. They are becoming very small and smaller. But when you water them, just after you water them, after a couple of 1 hour or half an hour, you can see the plants are straight up again. They are standing straight. Why? Because the cells have swollen again. The cells are rigid again. They are strong again, and they can hold the plant. But if they dehydrate, the plants will shrink. Okay. We are done for today's lesson. If you don't have any questions, we are done now. Okay. Then have a nice day, everyone.